Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku's hands and her figures, the well-rounded nerd. I'm trying another little way of recording. We'll see if I like it, and if y'all like it, we'll see. We'll see. This is a test video for this, so definitely give me all the feedback. I don't know how to get the camera legs out of the shot. I tried. But anyway, here's some projects I'm working on. I figure this is a good way to talk about my projects and process while you can actually see the work. I know I usually do it front facing, but I figured this way, maybe you can see more of my actual process. I think sometimes people wonder if I'm actually painting and building my figures. I am. It's all me. Same thing when y'all watch me play Space Marines. That's me being terrible at the game. Nobody's using my controller. I wasn't being shady at all. But here's what I'm working on right now. I've got this fantastic squad that I'm working on to accompany the Praetor for my salamanders that I'm building. And I'm experimenting with color. So I use pearlescent ink quite a bit because she likes everything to be shiny. And even though the salamander's base color is green, they're still going to be shiny. So I actually, let me show you this first. I did the dry brushing build up to do a slap chop on them because sometimes slap chop looks really good. And I actually did the slap chop build up in ink. I didn't do it with contrast paint. Not contrast paint, with regular acrylic paint. I used acrylic ink. And so now I've come back and done the base coat spray in acrylic ink. I can see some of the shadowing. It's not, yeah, you can see some of it. It's not as deep as it may have been had I done traditional contrast. So that's a thought on these guys. I don't know if I'm going to do airbrushing from this angle because I haven't decided if it's going to work that way, but we'll see. So that's project one. Next, I did manage to get my Tartarus Terminators rebuilt, and they are now primed. I might go in and base them in Muso Black, but I've got really good detail. But I did their base coat in ink, their prime coat in ink. And the reason I did that, let's see, I can give y'all some better light. This is interesting lighting from this angle, so y'all got to give me feedback on how this looks. My nails are short. I used to always do my nails, but the more I'm getting into painting, the less I do my nails because there's no point. And I've started doing heavy combat in the SCA. So, but and having, if you saw my video last week, you know I had a little bit of a snafu with these guys. So in rebuilding them, I didn't want to lose any detail because I was still gonna have to overspray a little bit of paint and primer. And doing that with the ink gave me nice thin layer. So I still got all the detail definition. I did end up losing a couple of pieces to the ether. So you might be like, hey, that's not the right shoulder piece for him. It sure isn't. Came from another set. But we do what we must. I've done kit, some bash. So there's these guys. If you remember the original time I painted them, I done them in Muso Black and then gone into like the crevices and stuff here and put like that electric pink acrylic, and it was looking amazing. And I did something stupid and decided to go in and dry brush them because I don't know, I was feeling dumb that day and ruined them. And that's why they got rebuilt and rebase coated. But when I stripped the paint, I forgot that I had glued them with super glue for some stupid reason. So this was just a mistake laden project, but it's okay. Oh, I do have two lights. Let me bring this one closer, see if it helps at all. So yeah, there is that. Oh, wait. The camera itself that I'm using has a light too, but I'll figure it out. So yeah, the ones that I was able to save all the pieces, they still look really good. I actually think, oh, there's a little bit of the old paint in there. You see that? I missed a little bit in the priming. So I'm going to have to go back and do a little reprime on some of these with the ink. And that's another reason I did the ink on prime number 2 was to make sure that if I did have to go in with another layer, that it would be thin enough and I wouldn't lose details. Here's one that's got a missing a pauldron from another set. Oh, we do what we gotta do, right? Yeah. So there's those. And then the Chorus Masters were 3D prints. So that was an easy peasy choice because nothing was going to break on these. But they stripped nicely. These are 3D printed. These are Chorus Masters for my Cacophony and my Emperor's Children. I've got Chorus Masters. I've got another set from another Slanesh box I'll probably build and paint, but they weren't funny enough. And these look like real Mad Maxy. So like, in Fury Road where they've got the guy hanging from the guitar, the guy playing the guitar with the skull on his face, and he's hanging from, the war machine. I think I'm going to put him on a rhino and figure out how to literally make a little war machine for him. I've got 3 to experiment with because I have a ton of cacophony. So I'm trying to get on these. I wasn't happy with the paint job. And who is not scared to repaint a figure is me. I'm even reconsidering repainting my bikes now that I've skilled up a bit. But the project that I'm really focusing on now are these ladies. Now, these are also getting slap chopped. These are Novitiates. It's a kill team. And I actually have 2 boxes of this kill team. So this is box number 1. I've had it for a while. And I don't know why I haven't built them yet. They're going to be great. I plan to honestly use them in OPR fantasy, and I will play OPR fantasy or sci-fi depending on what they have, because some of them have more of this fancy looking stuff and so, like the spiritual stuff, and some of them have weapons. So that's why I'm building both boxes. But I don't know why I waited so long to build these models, because they're beautiful. Let's grab another girly. I mean, look at this. I love their posing. I think they're absolutely stunning. But if you're doing slap chop, you do have to, test on figures. And these also were built up in acrylic ink instead of using regular paint, because I just want to see if I can do some better detail preservation. So there's one I've actually started experimenting with colors on, and here she is. This is my first girlie. She seemed the simplest to paint. I love how they look all ancient world warrior, don't they? Like they look like they stepped out of time. So this one, I think I like this, how the color came out. This is the contrast ball red. If I, one of the things I love about Warhammer is if you're very well read, like all the character names and stuff make total sense. Paint names, all that. Ball is a pagan god, if you didn't know. But anywho, so that's contrast on top of ink layer, and I think she came out pretty darn good. I can, at least from where I'm sitting, I can see the definite definition of the layers. It was kind of hard to get on the inside here, but now it's like I have to make decisions about other color parts. So since this is my first type of video, I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting. So I'm going to reach up in my big box of paint and find us the next color we want on her. Because you've got their armor and everything else. And being someone who is not particularly awesome at color theory, I'm always looking at a color wheel. Like always, I look at the color wheel like it's there to save my life. But I'm thinking I can do their base armor in like a purple. Purple and red work, don't they? Yes, where's my color wheel? We're going to find out. So I just grabbed my Luxion purple contrast. Girl, you have a lot of paint. Yes, I do. I do. And there will be more. I'm spinning my thing on my desk. There it is. It's so fun. We should just do like an organization day. I'm thinking about this. Tell me if y'all would enjoy this. I'm thinking about getting on the Discord and organizing like maybe once a month, like we all hobby together virtually. Like whatever your hobby is. It doesn't have to be painting minis and Warhammer. Some people knit. Some people, like sometimes you'll catch me doing SCA work. Like I've got helmets to fix and I'm doing lamellar armor. I've got a Pell to make. Like there's always something to do with the SCA. I got 2 new shields to paint. So let me know if that's something I'd like to do, like a virtual hobby night, because I think that would be super fun. So here is my color wheel. Let me get to the color family that I'm looking at here. So if I was doing a build up, see, this is just, these are so helpful for me. Like these guys live in the same color family. But if I was doing like trim or something, I'd be looking at like these colors. I'm looking at a base color. So I might come down here when I'm looking for the trim, but I'm going to narrow in because this red is really what I used for the trim right here. Some people are going to be like, you don't have to use a color wheel. Yes, I do. I don't know color theory. There we go. So this is leaning more in the blues, isn't it? It really is leaning more in the blue. I'm going to trust the color wheel and grab one of my blues. It's leaning more toward the blues. And I have lots of blues. And I want these girls to be rather bright. So we're going to lean toward blues. I'm going to go with Pilar Glacier contrast. So if you've never done slap chop before, and I'm not the best at giver of instructions because I'm not the best painter, but basically with the contrast slap chop method, whether it's contrast paints or you're using these, my husband is a huge fan of the speed paints from Army Painter. I got him the entire set for Christmas. He printed out a holder for them and then painted tops for each of them so he knows exactly what's in there. It's like really cool. Like, look at this. This is not great. Like, if I don't have the color, he will. But what you do is you build up your shade layers. That's what's supposed to happen with slap chop. It's supposed to be one of the quicker ways to get models table ready and them still look good. Table ready, table ready. So as you build up, so she started black, and I start dry brushing. I dry brushed like a black gray on her, so I'd mix two inks together, a black and a white, to get a very dark gray, and let that dry. Then dry brushed on like a medium gray. Then dry brushed on like closer to the white side of gray. And I think that she's got like 5 layers on her, 5 or 6. And the very last layer is white and just dusting it on. So the highest points are light and the darkest points are black. And those are going to usually be on like the underside down there. Um, and when you do it that way, these contrast paints are super thin. And I didn't know how to use them at first, which is why I'm repainting some things before I start new figures. And I do want to enter Golden Demon, so I'm really trying to practice and get better. But when you put these contrast paints on, they're very fill in the gap paints. That's the best way I can think of them. And when they're filling in those gaps, what they end up doing is laying on these models in a way that where it's the highest point that got the lightest paint, that's also going to be the lightest of the contrast. And then the darkest of the recesses, it's going to be the darkest shade that this paint can reach, laying on top of a dark gray or a black. So it does that shading for you automatically, which is kind of cool. Are all figures need to be shaded that way? Not necessarily. Shaking my paint. We're going to do a test with this blue, and then y'all are going to give me some feedback on this style of a video. I have another camera that I could use in my top-down rig, but I'm actually, sometimes it goes off on me, like turns off when I'm doing a video. So when I want to do a longer one, I'll try that one. But y'all tell me how this works. All right, so there's my paint. And here's my girly girl. I always have to, tonight we're going to our brush and banter at our local hobby store. And I always have to remember to bring my own brushes. They provide brushes, but if you know, you know. You don't just like take a brush and go into the paint. You got to wet it a little bit. You know, most of us wet our brushes. Yeah, don't be using other people's brushes if you paint a lot. If you understand, you understand. So I'm going to go for our undergarb first in the blue and see how that makes me sparkle. It might be subtle. It looks like blue jeans, doesn't it? Looks a little bit like blue jeans. I might have to do a couple of layers. My husband he was curious about the contrast and ink method as well, so he did some figures this way. And he said that when he got to the point of applying his contrast paint, that the ink was coming off. And I hadn't had that experience, but he was also using a different brand of paint. So I don't know if that made a difference. The inks that I used for this base painting buildup were not expensive. I used this brand here. Funny story about these on Christmas. I ended up getting 2 sets of this, but this is from a company called Premier Montmart. That's the actual brand. None of this is, again, I'm not sponsored. I'm just letting you know what I use. But it's not a super expensive brand, and it did the job. You know, like you want something fancy, like the pearlescence. Yeah, these are pricier. 6 of these is like almost $40. Whereas 12 of these in different colors is like nearly just $1 a bottle. Not quite that low, but pretty low. He said that when he was applying his contrast on top, that the ink was washing away. I hadn't had that experience. So if you have that experience, let me know. Because maybe it's just the combination of different types of paint. I don't know. Maybe different paints. I mean, it's all acrylic, but everyone mixes their paints differently. Like when I took the Artist Opus class at Adepticon, that was one thing that they talked a lot about, was that all the different paints from different vendors behave differently. There was one vendor there, I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to start paint wars, that people were just clamoring to get their paint. I honestly had not heard of them before. This is another reason my nails aren't done. If I make a mistake, I will literally just get in there and chomp. I might do my nails again, but it's not today. There we go. This is definitely going to take 2 layers of contrast to get the vibrancy that I want. But they were talking about how, different paints do behave differently because even though they're using some of the same basic materials, there's still going to be a difference between a premium material and an economy material. And then there's just the way they formulate their products. That's going to make a huge difference in how it behaves on the brush. And that's no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. That's just how things work. So there was one brand that people were just like, are they here? Have you seen them? Have you gone to see what they do? And then there were a couple of brands and people were like, ew, we can't believe they showed up. I will always stand up for Turbo Dork all day, every day. I love using Turbo Dork on like my big vehicles and stuff. I'm also rethinking, nobody wanted my prize pack for reaching 5,000 subscribers. My feelings aren't hurt. Yes, they are. But that's okay. The person probably didn't need a OPR starter kit from me, and that's fine. I figure my next big milestone, I still have the kit. I've printed everything. The only thing I didn't print because he never responded were the models. I got the terrain, the dice, everything, the dice tower. I painted the dice tower, painted the little dragon. The kit just kept getting bigger and bigger. So when I hit my next big milestone, maybe 7,500, I'm not going to wait for 10,000 because it took me several years just to get to 5,000. I'm going to try to give it away again, but that gives me time to paint it instead of just giving it away raw. So now you're going to get a painted set when I'm able to give that away. And hopefully this time the prize will be claimed. But we'll see. If you don't claim my prize, I'll cry. You don't want to make a girl cry, do you? Okay, that was nice. That was manipulative. Don't make a girl cry. But I'm pretty happy with this. I like being able to do the video in a way that y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of liking this. Again, I do an experiment video once in a while just to see. But, if you made it this far, just let me know. Would you like to maybe once a month or so, once a quarter, do hey, let's get on the Discord and all hobby together? Hobby party. Would you like, I'm thinking of doing a group Space Marine campaign, but I gotta find people who aren't going to be mad to play with someone who sucks at gaming. I enjoy playing video games. I'm not good at them. So I will make a real gamer mad. And I'm very self-aware that way. So it's funny when people watch me game, they're like, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, I know. I'm aware. I put the disclaimer in the title. She sucks. But yeah, it's kind of fun. This is not her hair. This is part of her veil. This past weekend when we went to an SCA event, my SCA persona is Moroccan, North African. And so I went with that. I in the summer I wear that garb because it's so much cooler. Like temperature cooler. And it is cool as far as aesthetically. But because, I'm a 6 foot tall African descended woman, it looked really good on me. But this veil I'm painting here is reminding me of that. Oh, this is coming out pretty good. I think we might actually try to gold up the armor. I feel like the red, blue, and gold might actually look really good and like a pseudo flag almost. And of course, there's others. That might actually look really good. Yeah, I'm going to come back in here and see if I can build up a little bit more on this contrast. But I'm not trying to go super deep. It's this slap chop, sometimes it's the impression of paint, and every paint behaves differently. Like I've even noticed with the contrast, some are thinner than others. Like this Pilar Glacier is much thinner than this Ball Red. The Ball Red went on like thickums. That's one layer. So you got to play with the paint. And I appreciate Artist Opus telling us, like what you did with one paint in one application may not work with the same paint in the same brand in another application because the formulas are different. I was like, yeah, y'all are smart. Thanks for teaching. But yeah, those are a couple ideas I have for the channel. Let me know if you'd like to do some group hobbying together. My next master's degree class doesn't start until May, so I've got some free time. which I'm going to hurry and hobby and get a couple of projects done in my house as well. Just having a good time, having a good time. Oh, yeah, that built up nice, huh? There's the one that's a little bit thinner. That one's a little bit thicker. Yeah, it's building up nicely. So I think I'm going to like this. This will be a fun project tonight. I might do some filming of my hand. I'd always try to put, like, if I do just painting, like for background, music in the background. I've tried that a couple of times and it's always gotten copyright claimed, even if it says royalty free music. Like I pay for royalty free music on an app. And then when I put it into YouTube, it's like, that's not royalty free. And I'm like, but it was a minute ago. That was the whole reason I used this music. So I don't know. But that's why I was trying to find a way to do the top down painting while I'm talking. So y'all just let me know what you think about it and what you think about my ideas. And also, last thing I'll announce, I am going to be in Atlanta the weekend of May 8th. There is an event going on called Black Fae, which I'd never heard of, but one of my local knights in the SCA asked if I would like to participate in fighting. They're doing a fighting demo. And I was like, because, well, it is a event, well, that's geared toward getting Black folks into fantasy stuff. And of course, anyone can come, it's not exclusive. But, everything's got a theme to it. And I was like, sure, totally. So me, him, and another one of our fighters who also is Black are going. We're going to be doing a fighting demo. So if you want to come out and watch, you should totally do that. I'm all for anything that brings people into these great hobbies. And then we might get some new SCA recruits out of it. But yeah, so far she's looking good. Yeah, these two paints behaved very differently. Very differently. But test coloring, it helps. So that's all going to be for this video today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.